Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation, channel that brings you your team every single day, guys. Channel that keeps you up to date with all that is going on at Ibrox. Welcome along. Look, it's a strange one, isn't it? Tonight, Sky Sports are reporting that the Ridvan deal is pretty much done, and that he will be joining Hellas Verona on loan, which obviously therefore reduces our number of left backs to one. In theory, Borna Barisic been the only left back on the actual squad at this moment in time. Now, according to some reports, John Lee Yefeko is training with the first team, as is Robbie Fraser as well. Does this mean that there will be some promotion from the youth ranks to the first team in terms of cover at left back? Now, I really hope there is a plan at left back. I genuinely do. Look, whatever you think about Borna Barisic and a new contract, I'm not going to talk about that on this video here. I think it's quite clear that some of our fans love Borna Barisic. It's quite clear that some of our fans, like me, don't rate Borna Barisic anymore. Yes, in 2020, 2021, he was one of the best left backs in the country. He was a very fine player back then. But at this moment in time, he is a poor reflection of what he used to be. If Borna Barisic is our first choice left back for the rest of the season, we've got problems. We have genuinely got problems. He's not up to it anymore. He's caused a number of goals at Celtic Park. He's proven that he doesn't really cope there. It is a situation that we've got now. According to the media at this moment in time, it is a case of the fact that the rumor is that obviously Ridvan is joining on loan, but that Josh Doig, who is the left back from Verona, who many Rangers fans wanted to be included as part of this Ridvan deal, has joined Olympique Marseille on loan. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? You know, the fact that he's joining now Marseille. Now, according to the reports coming out of Marseille and at the media in France, is that Doig is joining Marseille for a little over £4 million, around 4.3 million to be precise. Now, given the fact the price that was originally quoted for Doig was 5.5, and that's come down obviously to 5.2 and now to 4.3. Obviously, we don't know if there are any add-ons in the deal or sell-on clauses, etc., included in this deal. Now, according to a lot of people, the story was that Doig wasn't actually interested, that there was never any interest from Rangers in Josh Doig, which to me is not good. You know, Josh Doig is a quality player. You know, he's a quality left back. Sort of player that perhaps we should have been looking at a year or so ago when he left Hibs to join Hellas Verona for only £3 million. Like £1.3 million profit. Obviously, Hellas are making on him. Indication that player already fits the trading model, doesn't he? He would have been certainly someone who did fit the trading model. Obviously, like I said, with Ridvan leaving, and it looks like that's pretty much done now on loan, which again, you've got to kind of question, I have faith in Philippe Clement, don't get me wrong. And I don't want to seem negative. I'm not trying to be negative. What I'm trying to be is realistic here and kind of trying to bring together what the thinking behind this is at this moment. I mean, yes, it is only the 12th of December, 12th of January. There are still 19 days left of this month and 19 days left of the window. Now, I'm not saying I wanted it. And look, before anyone gets on my back and says, well, what do you want it done like that? Do you want us to make the same mistakes as the summer? No, of course not. But what I would have hoped is by now we would have seen perhaps a couple of more deals done, or a deal, at least one deal done, and perhaps another one on the way to being done. And I think the club are missing a real opportunity to bring players in whilst we are in La Manga and bed these players in and get these players used to playing with their teammates. That for me is a really big one. Obviously, Fabio Silva is part of that squad that's out there at this moment in time, and obviously that Philippe Clement will be using that time to work very wisely with Fabio Silva and get him up to speed, ready to play. And obviously, I have ultimate faith in Philippe Clement. You've only just got to look at what Philippe Clement has achieved with the squad of players that he's got at the moment. I don't think any of us can pretend that this is a good squad. It is not a good squad of players. It is a very average bunch of Rangers players with some exceptional players in there. The likes of Abdallah Sima, the likes of Todd Canwell, the likes of Jack Butland, for example, to name but three. But there are a lot of very average players in that team. And there's a lot of players who have underperformed, who need to improve. Nicholas Raskin, obviously. There's definitely a need for him to improve. You look at some of the others, alongside John Lundstrom. Lundstrom has made big strides forward, so respect to him for that. McCausland's come in and done well. So, Philippe Clement is doing very well with what he's got. But look, and I think Clement has got obviously work to do. He needs to get the best out of this man. And if he can and get him back to how the form he was showing in the second half of last season, then we're obviously going to have a real asset there. This man here, Fabio Silva, he's very highly rated. Again, if we can get him bedded in and get him back to where he was during his Porto days, then we've got a really, really class act player. Abdallah Sima will, of course, return, hopefully uninjured, in the middle of February to the squad. And that's obviously going to place us in good stead. And yes, that is all good news. But for me, it's worrying. There seems to be more links with players heading out the door at Ibrox. Now, there is a need to reduce the squad size. Yes, there is. It is quite clear this squad is bloated. Of course, it's bloated. You've got a situation where you've got, I think it's 32 players on the squad. Average age is 27. We need to bring the average age down. There are a lot of players on that squad as well that spend a lot of time sat in the stands. Kemar Roof, Tom Lawrence, to name but two. And that needs to be addressed. And I get that. Now, you can debate all you want the Borna Barisic Ridvan Yilmaz competition. Some fans think that Ridvan's better than Borna, others think that Borna's better than Ridvan. That's down to personal impression. Personally, I think Ridvan is twice the player that Borna Barisic is. He's better going forward. He's better defensively. He doesn't shat it as much when they play Celtic. So look, that's where I am. But look, you've got to sort of think about, why are there more players heading out the door? And the players that are heading out the door are not in positions that are, I would say, overly blessed at this moment in time. Philippe Clement spoke, didn't he, about the squad being unbalanced. And he's right. The squad is horrifically unbalanced. We haven't got anywhere near enough class left backs. We haven't got enough wingers. We haven't got enough decent strikers. We've got a surfeit of central midfield players. We've got, quite a few tens. We do have an imbalance this squad, but it seems, like with Ridvan going out to left back, heading out, Sam Lammers, who can play 10, yes, but he's also forward. Another forward going out. Danillo's out, obviously, until April. There's a real imbalance there. And what worries me is that the fact that there is seemingly no movement on strikers. And I think we all admit, we all know that we need a striker. We desperately need a striker in this window. Now, according to, again, it's only reports. And look, I don't know anything more than you know. I'm just going off what I've read. I'm trying to interpret it and trying to put that message across. And all I'm trying to do this for is to get that discussion going within the fan base and for you to give me your opinions. And you might completely disagree with me, and that's absolutely fine. I haven't got a problem with that as long as we keep it constructive. But it does look like there is absolutely, at this moment in time, no chance that Lawrence Shankland is even on the club's radar. A number of sources tonight reporting that Rangers cannot afford Lawrence Shankland. That he's out of the club's price range at this moment in time, and that he will be remaining with Hearts. If a £4.3 million left back and a £4 million striker are out of the club's price range at this moment in time, where are we as a club at this moment in time? All those jokes that come from the other side of the city about us being skint FC, is that actually true? That is a question. And I'm not asking the board to come out and reveal to everyone how much money we've got, because that's ridiculous. Any club that comes out and says we've got 70 million, 20 million, 30 million, 5 million, 10 million to spend automatically inflates whatever prices for players. Of course it does. That's ridiculous. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, to me, there does seem to be a slight concern over the fact that we only seem to be looking, and again, it's only reports, at players who are frees or loans or whatever. And yes, January is a difficult time to rebuild, but you've still got to look at players who will come in and make an impact, players who will come in and improve the squad. There is no point bringing in players just to increase numbers in certain positions. You should only be signing players if they improve or are better than what you actually got in the squad. That is the philosophy that takes all teams forward and improves all teams. So when we're looking at a left back now, we need to be looking at someone who is a first choice starting left back, because at this moment in time, like it or not, and some of you won't like this, we have not got a starting quality left back in the team. Borna Barisic is predictable. He's slow. He's negative. He back passes too much. People say, oh, he's still in and around the Croatia team. Yes, but mostly on the bench. So look, at the end of the day, we do need a starting left back. We don't score enough goals. What I'm going to ask you a serious question here. Going forward, are you confident that if we do not sign a striker in this window now, that Fabio Silva and Cyril Dessers are enough to see this team through to the end of the season? Is that enough to see the team through to the end of the season? Are those two guys going to score enough goals between them to put us in a serious competition with Celtic? I would like an answer to that question, guys. I personally don't think they are. Fabio Silva is not an out-and-out 9, okay? He is more a 10 or a wide forward. He is not an out-and-out 9. Look back across his career, look back across what he's achieved and look back how he's played. He's not an out-and-out 9. He's not an out-and-out goal scorer. He's more a creative behind that striker, someone who can interchange with Cantwell, someone who can interchange with Seamer, with McCausland, etc., etc. That's the type of player he is. And Cyril Dessers, I have got zero confidence in that guy after that display at Celtic, that in big games when it really matters, that he's going to be able to pull it out for us, particularly against that lot from across the city. Look, and like I said, the other thing, the loan system. Why are we loaning Lammers? I understand why we're loaning Sam Lammers, because at the end of the day, you're not going to get any money from him now. The guy is just an awful player. But Ridvan Yilmaz, why are we not? If we're so determined that he is not part of the plans and he is not the player that we want going forward left back, why are we not selling him for money to then bring that money in to reinvest in a striker, for example? To me, it doesn't make any sense at all. Look, it's a strange one, and what is kind of, I don't know, not getting to me, but it kind of just it seems the club is taking great delight in denying every report, every rumor, every link is no, we're not interested in him. No, we're not. No, not interested. Not interested. Not interested. Yes. Look, I get it. We need to trust the process. 100% need to trust the process. But there is come the end of this window, when it slams shut on the 31st of January, if we have not brought in a new left back, starting quality left back, and a new starting striker, severe questions need to be asked of this board. Not of Philippe Clement, not of Niels Koppen, because Niels Koppen had only started work on the 2nd of January. Not of Philippe Clement, because at the end of the day, he cannot spend money he has not got. He can only deal with what the board are offering him at the end of the day and then do the best he can do. But if the board are not prepared to back their manager and genuinely back their manager and show a bit of ambition, then you've got to ask questions of John Bennett, of James Bisgrove. Are they the right people to run this club? Now, people say, obviously, John Bennett's been great with his takeover, but what you've got to remember is John Bennett was part of the board that appointed Michael Beale. John Bennett was part of Douglas Park Sports. So let's deal with that. That is a true fact. James Bisgrove, obviously, is an improvement on Stuart Robertson. Let's face it, anyone would be an improvement on him. You could probably dig somebody up and there would be an improvement on him. They'd have more sense about doing the job than he ever had. But for me, there is a real concern at the moment that we need to start seeing a bit more ambition in this transfer window. Look, I've got no doubt in my mind that lot from across the city will spend money. They have got money. They have generated, I think it's 60, 70 million pounds from European and European runs and player sales. Yes, they didn't do very well in Europe, but they still generated income from the Champions League. They got the Jota money. They've got other money they've generated through player sales. So there is money there. They have money and they will spend. They will strengthen. And the fact is, at this moment in time, they are better than us because of a couple of factors. One is they have a deeper squad, I think, in a number of positions. And also they have a clinical striker who puts the ball in the back of the net consistently against us, something that we at the moment do not have. And we do need to invest in. Now, if it is true that we cannot afford Lawrence Shankland, that is an exceptionally sad state of affairs for a club like ours to be in that position, to not have the money to invest in a player like Shankland. And look, you can criticize Shankland and whatever, but Shankland is someone who's proven in this league, scores goals in this league, and I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that he would go on to score a lot of goals in this league if he played for Rangers. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm constantly scrolling Twitter, I'm constantly scrolling X or whatever it's called, looking for stories from Rangers, looking for the club saying stuff about who we've been linked with. But at the moment, there's absolutely nothing out there, absolutely zero. I'm sure there's a plan. And I've put things up on X today, and I've got absolute dog's abuse from some people about it. But I'm just trying to raise a question here, a genuine question. If that is the case, this is the genuine base of our ambitions, where are we going? Like I said, if Doig was never in our plans, why was he never in our plans? The guy is a good player. He's someone who Olympique Marseille have signed Gennaro Gattuso, Rina Gattuso, who is their manager. Marseille, are a good French side, yet they're interested in him. So why are we not? 4.3 million. Yes, maybe a lot of money to us now, but is it really? And sometimes, I keep saying this, and you have to speculate to accumulate. You have to take a risk sometimes, because let's say, for instance, we spent 4.3 million on Doig, and say we spent 3.5 million on Shankland. That's 7.8. So say it's 8 million in total on those two guys. Well, let's say that we then go on and win the league. I know it's a lot of ifs and buts, but we go on and win the league, and then we get straight into the Champions League. Well, it's automatically those two have paid back any money that we spent on them. They fire us through one more round of the Europa League. Again, that's more money. Again, they pay back what they've spent on, what's been spent on them. Look, I'm in a position. I really, like I said, I'm constantly checking X. I'm constantly checking Twitter, whatever it's called these days, looking at the club for the club to make an announcement about, what the situation is, or have we generated some money, or is there somebody we're actually genuinely interested in and we're negotiating with, and where are we up to with that, and is there agents, doing that. So it is, for me, it's just. I don't know. It is bizarrely quiet. After being told at the AGM that the board would back Philippe Clement in this transfer window, and I've got no doubt in my mind that when he took this job, he kind of, for me, would have wanted some backing and some reassurance that he would get money to strengthen. Yes, we are in a financial position where we cannot afford to spend lots of money. I understand that. Yes, Michael Beale, absolute idiot, wasted a hell of a lot of money in the summer. But I think you've got to remember that we generated a lot of money in the summer as well from player sales. We sold Fashion Sakala for 3 million. We sold Glenn Kamara for 5 million. Well, there's 8 million. Tony Goals, another 1.5 million. Well, there's 9.5 million incoming there. Saved Hadji's wages. There's probably about 10.5, 11 million pounds worth of savings there. Well, considering we spent 13.5, that's actually only 2 million pound down. So it was pretty much near to a net zero spend anyway. So where has the money gone? That's the question, and was there ever any money? Going back across time, the Champions League money that came in, the Europa League money, the Bassi money, the Aribo money, the Patterson money, did that all go just to pay off managers we've sacked? Did it all go to Edmiston House? If that's the case, then that's fine, but at least tell us that there's no money, because that's where the money's gone. Beale would have needed paying off, Gio would have needed paying off, but it is worrying for me as a fan who wants to see this team get back to where we should be at the top of the Scottish game, win the league season in, season out, putting that lot back where they deserve to be, back in their boxes, that we are at the moment allowing more players to leave and go. And look, in a week's time, I might be talking completely differently. I understand that. I get that, guys. And I know football is a constantly changing world, but we've got to kind of talk about how we are at this moment in time and where we're up to at this moment in time. And the club, they need, in a way, to come out and kind of, reassure fans that we are making progress on deals, that there is irons in the fire, that there are players going to be coming in. To me, it just seems very quiet, and it seems a lot of no, not interested, no, not interested. There are rumours that have obviously not yet been denied. Million Manhoef, but Vitor Serrano have said that they're not interested in selling him in this transfer window. That's certainly been one that's gone out there. You've got the Emmanuel Dennis rumours, but I've been very clear on that. Emmanuel Dennis would be a dreadful signing for this club with 1 goal every 4.8 games. Attitude stinks. Ask a Forest fan about him; they just do not rate him in the slightest. So look, that's where we're up to, and it is a worrying time. I think like we all went to this window with really big hopes, high hopes that this window could be a time that we kind of really push this squad on. Now we have got positives. Obviously, the positives are that Nicholas Raskin is back, Tom Lawrence is back, Ryan Jack is back. They have all been back training this week, and that is positive, really positive. And I think that Nicholas Raskin, I'm being honest here, Raskin is a good block. I know he hasn't performed as well this season so far, but Raskin is a very talented player. We saw that at the end of last season, and I honestly think that someone like Philippe Clement can get the very best out of Nicholas Raskin going forward. Of course he can. The worry, of course, around Tom Lawrence and Ryan Jack is quite obvious, that that they are injury prone. So how many games can we get out of them in the second half of the season? That's going to be down to Philippe Clement to manage. Cifuentes seems to be back and training as well. So again, good news. I mean, to be fair to Cifuentes, the Hearts game that we played probably his best game so far for us. So look, there is positives there, but we do need to strengthen this squad. We do need a left back. We do need a centre forward. And but we don't just need any old Tom, Dick, or Harry, anybody who's free, anybody who's cheap. We need someone who's going to come in, be able to hit the ground running and start from day one. We don't need more bench players, bench warmers. We need starters, particularly in those positions and particularly up front. Because like I said, and I'll repeat the question to you, do you think that Fabio Silva and Cyril Dessers are enough to get this team through to the end of the season? Well, guys, that's my reflections on where we're up to at this moment in time. Obviously, we've got the game against Hertha Berlin tomorrow, the behind closed doors friendly game. We'll have obviously a morning pod as well building up to that. So, guys, please obviously come and join me for that. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. And as always, on the way out, if you can smash the sub, it'd be absolutely phenomenal. Two things I always ask of you. Number one, smash the like. And number two, always remember, never forget, we are the people.